My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. So I wouldn't say that my life is in shambles, but my schedule is in shambles. So for reasons of time management and schedule reorganization, today's video is going to be me getting ready to film another video that I have to film today. And I'm just gonna chat with you guys about what's going on, and it's gonna be a little bit of a check-in, not my official check-in, partly to tide you over because my official check-in is not going to be on time this month. But we'll talk about all of that while I am beating my face. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. I'm going to be using some of the items from my Shop My Stash, which I have been woefully neglecting. That's another thing that's kind of gone wrong schedule-wise this month. I'm just priming my eyes with the Smashbox primer. I have really struggled to use my Shop My Stash things as much as I usually do and as much as I want to. And it's partly just because of an influx of stuff into my life. One of the things that's kind of been going on that's overwhelmed me, not necessarily my schedule because it's not really a schedule thing, is just that I'm starting to see the things piling up because of PR and because of gifts. This whole time since I ended my no-buy year and started doing my budget and started receiving PR, I've just kind of been curious about how it would all unfold. And I've been watching myself from above. I have to keep going. I know I have the propensity to just stop doing and continue talking, but I'm gonna try to keep going through all of this. So, you know, my life, my channel, my no-buy, my budget, all of this is kind of an ongoing experiment in materialism, consumerism, ethical consumerism, philosophy, minimalism, all of this stuff. It's an ongoing experiment to which you guys are witness. And I've said this before, but I really don't think of it as me showing the way with a shining light. I really think of it as me just experimenting, and it's messy, and choosing to do it publicly, which is also messy in its own way and also kind of messes with the experiment in its own way. So it's like ouroborically messy. It's like double, triple, layer cake, sliding doors, memento messy. So I'm putting this Slayfire glitter onto my eyes and I'm absolutely living for it. I think this might be my favorite of all of the glitters that I purchased at DragCon. It's the one called Sully. And I'm right now doing a version of the glitter eye look that I've been doing pretty much every day since I acquired all of these glitters. And I know I'm sitting way back here and I'm not really going to show you exactly how I do it, but Sunday's video is going to be a very close-up and in-depth tutorial about a slightly different version of this look. It's the copper glitter all over the lid eye look that I was wearing in a recent video, my DragCon video. I'm not doing exactly the same thing today, but I'm doing something similar enough that I think that if you're really curious about this and watching me do it in this video isn't instructive enough, then that video will have you covered. What was I saying? Goodness gracious, I just fell completely silent for like 3 minutes while I was continuing to put this glitter on. I forgot that I was filming. So I was saying that I've kind of just been watching myself from above as I have experienced the phenomenon that is having a channel on YouTube that is robust enough to receive things for free, both from brands and from some of you lovely subscribers of mine who offer to send me things from time to time. I've been watching myself be excited, I've been watching myself be nervous, I've been watching myself not know what to do, I've been watching myself interact with Octoly, which is really interesting because Octoly is this store where you can order things for free as long as you're willing to review them on your channel totally honestly within 30 days of receiving them. And I've just been sort of keeping an eye on how things are going. And I've said this before, but I haven't up until this point been willing to or even been just... Sorry, I stopped talking in the middle of my sentence because some fire trucks and ambulances went by. But I kept doing my eye look. I'm using the Natasha Denona Star palette because that is what's in my Shop My Stash this month. I'm using this eyeshadow right here, the sort of more warm-toned red one. And I'm using this brush from Refer. I actually got to meet with one of the owners of Refer after they had contacted me and sent me some brushes, and I was so impressed by them. We were communicating a little bit because they're really intense about asking for feedback, and I immediately had feedback and I sent them my feedback. I was like, here's what I love about the brushes and here's what I wish you guys would expand into in the future. And in our correspondences, it turned out that one of the owners was going to be in LA this week. So we met for coffee. He was so wonderful, so sweet. I'll tell you guys more about Refer over the next couple of weeks, but he gave me a couple of more, I think this is actually a prototype brush. I'm not sure that they're really producing this right now, but goodness gracious, they are the best brushes I've ever used in my life, especially the eye brushes. I have mostly eye brushes, and that's mostly what I've been using. I am so impressed. Anyway, I was saying that up to this point, I have not been willing to or wanted to change the rules that I laid out for myself at the beginning of this year with regards to gifts and PR. I've just felt like the rules were what they were for a reason, which is true, and that they were a good base from which to proceed with finding out what it would be like and experimenting with my feelings and seeing how PR interacts with my budget and affects my budget. And actually, I am going to make a whole video about that. It's in the works. It's taking a little bit more planning than some of my videos take, but it is in the works. I have a video coming up about the effect of PR on my budget, and I think it's going to be really interesting. It's a question that I get a lot. It's something that I get asked a lot, and so I think it's high time that I really rally my thoughts and address it in one video. So I'm going into the slightly more cool toned red in the Star palette with this, the Refer 02, which is currently available. This is part of their launch collection that's launching via their Kickstarter campaign, I think on the 10th of June. And this is one of my two favorite brushes from them. The 02 and the 03 are the ones that I have fallen head over heels in love with. I think this is right now my absolute favorite brush. Well, gosh, I can't say that. The 02 and the 03 are tied, but I'm really in love with this one too. This is all just to say that this month I'm starting to think that I might want to maybe not like change my overall channel rules about receiving PR and gifts, but maybe I think I might want to make a change, or at least go through like a mini fast, a mini PR fast, and maybe gift fast, or maybe just Octoly, or maybe a shorter no buy than my first one or something. But I've just been feeling like I need to do something to get myself back on track, just like a little reorienting. And the fact that I struggled so mightily to stay in touch with the items for which I shopped my stash this month is kind of one of the main things that's showing that to me. And that's actually making me want, for the first time since the beginning of the year, to consider a change. And as ever, as with my no buy, I'm finding that moderation is really difficult. And I've talked before about how moderation, you know, the budget is a kind of moderation. Budgeting is a kind of moderation because you're allowing yourself, or I'm allowing myself, some, but not all, of the purchases that I want to make. I'm allowing myself to spend some, but not all, of the money that I feel impulsively compelled to spend every month. I'm putting a limit on it, and I'm just making myself moderate. And for me, and I think for many of us, moderation is harder than cold turkey. Cold turkey, the rules are really clear. I mean, with my budget, the rules are really clear. So I'm making it something that I can do. I'm making it something that I know that I can stick to by making really clear rules, even though it's like moderation rules, if that makes sense. It's hard because I'm like starting and stopping and starting and stopping with my addictive behavior, because when I buy stuff, I'm shopping, which is my old addictive behavior, and then I have to bring myself up short when I run out of money for that month, or when I decide that I don't want to spend any more of my budget that month. So I got to a point I've talked about where I felt like I was requesting too many things from Octoly, like the cycle was moving too quickly. And so I told you guys on my channel that I was going to try to slow down with that and order fewer things from Octoly. And I decided I was going to try to just use it as a replacement thing. So for example, I ran out of oil cleanser last month, and I did request this Amore Pacific treatment cleansing oil from Octoly because it was in my free store, and I was like, great, I can get this cleansing oil and use it and test it, and then I won't have to buy myself a cleansing oil with my budget this month. And for me, that is a really, really good use for Octoly. And again, I'm going to address kind of the nitty-gritty of that in my upcoming video about how PR affects my budget. However, it kind of bit me in the butt this time because this is the worst cleansing oil I've ever used. It's not completely untenable, it's not completely unusable. I've just learned that I have to sit there massaging and massaging and massaging it into my eyes and my face for way longer than any cleansing oil I've ever had before. This, by the way, is why I freaking love this O2 brush from Refer, because it comes sort of to an angled point. I don't know, here, yeah, you can see that, right? See how it's sort of, it's like the softer version of this type of brush, which is historically what I've used on the lower lash line. I have a Morphe brush that's shaped like this, and then I have this Wayne Goss one. I always used to use these on my lower lash line, and then I would kind of have to draw it down to buff it out to kind of get a really nice buffed wash. But this one, it works similarly. It fits in there just the same way, but it's almost like it buffs it out automatically because it's a slightly fluffier brush. I just love it so much. It's made it much easier for me to do the eye looks that I like to do. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the cleansing oil. So basically, sometimes if I'm just wearing mascara and SPF on my face and then I need to wash my face, I'll just use a cleansing oil. And this will happen to me like in the middle of the day. If I, got up and we went grocery shopping or something, sometimes I'll just put on SPF and mascara and then we'll go out. And then we'll come back and I'll want to do like a look for filming or film myself putting a look on, or I'll want to do a look because we're going out later. Often what I'll do is I'll actually just get in the shower and rinse off and wash my face gently and get the mascara and the SPF off so that I can start fresh with a blank canvas. So I'll often just use an oil cleanser. Every time I've done that with this oil cleanser, I massage it into my eyelashes and I massage it all over my face. It doesn't irritate my eyes, which is a huge plus. I can at least give it that. And then I'll get out of the shower and there will be mascara like on my face. And that's never happened to me with an oil cleanser. And it'll have been a lot of oil massaging, a lot. But I feel like what happens is it emulsifies the mascara and then it kind of rubs it into my skin. And then when I rinse it with water, it stays there. And that's just not my usual experience with an oil cleanser. So as long as I massage for a really long time, it works fine as a first cleanse. And then I go in and I make sure to really spend a long time massaging my second cleanse into my skin. It does clean my skin. It does help get my makeup off. So I'm using it. Like, it's not like it's completely unusable. But my review of it is that I don't like it. It's definitely the least effective oil cleanser I've ever used. And it did come with this second cleanser, a treatment cleansing foam, which is like a creamy cleanser that foams up and it's extremely rich, the lather, and it's very effective and it's very pleasant to use. That's perfectly lovely. Foaming cream cleanser isn't my favorite kind of second cleanser, so I'm not sure that I will actually hang on to this and finish the whole thing. I might give it away to a friend if I have a friend who is currently in need of a cleanser, because it's a really nice one. It's just not quite my cup of tea. I think I'm gonna stay with that with my eyes. It's pretty light. It's a pretty light and simple look, but I'm gonna stay with it. And I'm not even going to put any liner on my inner rim or anything. I'm gonna keep it blank, and that like slightly fresh bird-like look, I think it works. It works for today. Keeping it simple. Keeping it simple, she said, with glitter all over her eyes. The other thing that I wanted to say about Octoly, and the thing that I've really been angling at this whole time, although I got distracted talking about that oil cleanser, is that in addition to sort of having an influx of stuff to test and not being able to lean as heavily on my Shop My Stash items as I wanted to, in addition to that, my resolve to only order things from Octoly if I was replacing a staple item fell apart towards the end of the month. So I watched myself half-heartedly try for moderation and succeed for several weeks. And then I saw my resolve cave. And that's partly because I didn't have strict rules. I didn't come on here and say to you, I pledge not to order anything from Octoly unless it's a true replacement, and that is now a rule. I didn't do that. What I said was, I'm gonna back off a little. I'm gonna just sort of see how it goes if I try harder to let those credits just sit there unused and just try not to constantly have all 5 credits used and 5 things constantly in the works that need to be reviewed. I'm going to just keep it to maybe 1 or 2 at a time. Like, that was what I said. I sort of equivocated. Well, I didn't equivocate. I believed that I was going to try, and I did try. I did try, and I did well for, I would say, almost a full calendar month. And then I ordered a couple of things that aren't replacements. And one of them is actually the product I'm about to use right now. And I have to admit, and this is why it's so fascinatingly convoluted, this whole issue, I am so glad that this came up in my free store and that I ordered it to test, because it blew me away. It blew me away, and I'm so grateful that I have it to use, and I'm really excited to be able to tell you guys about it. So to me, it's like all good, even though it was a thing that I broke down and ordered after having resisted ordering non-replacements for a long time. It's a primer. It's the Clarins SOS, and you guys know Lauren gave me the Radiance version of this. They have like a whole line of them. I don't know where it is right now because this is my life. But she gave me the Radiance one, and I was so impressed by it. And then one of you in the comments commented that they also make a green color correcting one, and that it is your holy grail primer. And that really piqued my interest because I love green color correcting primers. And so when it came up in my free store, I was like, no way. I just couldn't believe it because I'd already been thinking about it and researching it. And I was really, really curious. My collection has exploded with primers since I started receiving PR. It seems like primer is something that companies are currently really eager to get in the hands of influencers. And without even trying, I've built up a collection of primers that would last probably 2 years. And I do like having a variety of primers. It's been extremely lovely. But this is something that I definitely didn't need. It was like the opposite of a replacement that it made sense to order from Octoly. But it is the best primer in my collection currently. It's just so good. And I don't know how well you guys were able to see that, but I have been dealing with quite a lot of redness lately, and it does the best job of truly dampening down the redness of any green color correcting primer I've ever used. And it leaves behind this nice sheen. It's not reflective in the way that the other one is, but the finish is very, very beautiful, and I love how makeup applies over top of it. So I give this a rave review, and I'm glad I ordered it, which, go figure. However, it's not the only thing that I ordered from Octoly that I didn't technically need. This is the other thing, and I am going to talk more at length about this and review it in the video that's going to go up on Sunday, so I'm not going to do that now, but I am going to use it, so you'll see how it works. It's the new high cover concealer from the Touche Éclat line from YSL. So watching myself attempt to moderate, specifically with Octoly, and then watching myself fail at that. And I must say, it was because of bad days. It was because of external circumstances. So it was that same old experience of resisting and doing great. And these things were both in my free store for a long time before I ordered them. And I saw them and I was like, ooh, I would really like to order that. But then I was like, no, Hannah, let's stick to what you said you were gonna do. Accept a little less, request a little less, just use what you have. Remember your no-buy rules, remember your no-buy feelings, like remember all of this stuff. And I did that for a while. And then I remember the day on which I ordered this, I was just having the worst time. Of course, now I can't remember what it was that was going on anymore. But at the time, something had made me feel really, really bad about myself. Something had sent me spiraling downward. I was feeling super crummy, and I was grasping for something to make me feel better. And the extremely alluring thing about Octoly is that it's like shopping, but you don't have to spend any money on it. And so I was able to self-soothe by aping my shopping behavior without spending any of my budget, just by breaking down and ordering this thing that I wanted. So I watched myself do that twice this month. I watched myself do it with this and then with this. Things have sort of devolved and fallen apart in many ways as this month has played out, including my schedule, which we'll get into now. That's kind of what I promised to talk about, and instead I've been spending this whole time talking about PR. All right, that's pretty light coverage, especially for a skin that is right now pretty blotchy and blemished. I like it though. I know you can't quite see it on camera, but in real life you can really see how uneven my skin tone is around my mouth and chin. But I've been kind of into a glitter eye with kind of like a natural flawed complexion lately. That's really what I've been going for. I've been kind of into it. All right, I'm gonna do my soap brows while I talk about the scheduling thing. You know, at the end of the month and then the beginning of the next month, my channel's on a pretty strict schedule. So towards the end of the month, I always do the video where I report on the ethics of the companies from which I purchased in the preceding month. So the video that I should be filming right now, except that I didn't have time to prep it, and the video that should have gone up today when this video is going up is the video about the ethics of the companies from which I purchased anything with my budget in April. And that video is obviously coming. I'm still going to do it. It's just that according to my usual end of the month schedule, it should be going up today. And then according to my usual schedule, my check-in should be going up on Sunday. It is not going to be going up on Sunday. And then after that, I do the empties and the favorites and stuff like that. So all of that is coming. I do the empties and the favorites, and then I do the video about how I spend my budget in the month that just passed. So the video about what I bought in May, all of those videos are going to happen. They are going to be posted. They're just going to be a little bit late. It's all getting pushed forward a little bit, and the order might be a little bit jumbled. I think that the empties and maybe even the favorites might come first. The check-in, for the first time since the very beginning of my channel, my check-in is not going to be timely. It's not going to be right at the turnover between months. It's just going to be a couple of days, if not a week, into the next month. And that really, I'm disappointed in myself because I'm someone who, as a career creative, as somebody who works for myself and makes a living that way, I know that the only way to be successful at anything like this, any kind of creative pursuit or any kind of self-driven pursuit, is to make rules for yourself, like the no-buy, make really clear schedules and rules and deadlines for yourself, and then stick to them as if someone else is holding you to them. So you have to hold yourself to the same standard that you would hold yourself to if a boss were making your schedule for you or something like that. Like you have to not let yourself down. You can't give yourself a pass just because you're the only one who's going to know. And I mean, in this case, obviously I'm not the only one who's going to know. All of you guys are going to know, so that helps too. But I know that none of you, I hope none of you out there are like, tut Hannah, like your check-in is coming late this month. Like nobody's putting that kind of pressure on me. Nobody's like that. You guys all understand that I make barely any money from this work, and yet I'm spending at this point like 30 hours a week on it. I just cannot afford some weeks to prioritize it because I have to prioritize my grant writing and my sewing and all of the other kinds of work that actually drive the machine of my life. So you guys understand that, and I understand that, but it's still kind of bred into me to not fail at my schedule, at my goals for myself in a project like this, because if it's going to grow big enough so that eventually it can be something that supports me significantly enough so that it's worth all of the time, which I dearly hope because I love it so much. If that's going to happen, it's going to happen because I rarely dropped the ball. So it happened this month, but I'm hoping that it will not happen very often. I think it's time for mascara. I'm going to do it off camera because it's so awkward and weird. I'll be right back with mascara on. That was a struggle. It got in my hair, it got all over my face, it got everywhere, but splink splink. So this wasn't part of my Shop My Stash, but I've been reconnecting lately with my Clinique Cheek Pop blush. It's Fig Pop, and I'm going to apply that with this, you guys. Rachel, Thank you so much. One of you beautiful people out there, Rachel, reached out and offered to send me 2 Tom Ford brushes. And I have always been morbidly curious about Tom Ford's big fluffy brushes, these like famous ones. So this is the 06, it's a blush brush, and this one is the 05, the bronzer brush. And I have had the best time with them. I don't feel like I can give a full review at this point because it's been just maybe a week or two, but gosh, it's been really fun to use them, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Rachel. Rachel also sent the shirt that I was wearing in my video about DragCon, that beautiful silk blouse, black with like the mustard colored floral print. It was an exciting day when that package arrived. I guess I just learned that I'm not one to apply cheek products and talk at the same time. I am going to buff a little bit of that blush into my eye look, what's new. And I feel like I haven't really adequately explained why my month has been so chaotic, and it's just work. I mean, it's just that I've had a lot of grant writing work. I've had a lot of writing work in my own writing life, which is really exciting. Some projects coming up that I've had deadlines for, and like my nonfiction writing. It's been good things pretty much. I mean, I love my work, right? I love my YouTube work. I love my nonfiction writing and my poetry writing work. That's my main gig. I love the grant writing work that I do, and I love making clothes. Like, I love my small business. So I love all of my kinds of work, but I think that I'm starting to realize that when I have a grant due and I have a nonfiction essay that I'm working on pulling together, and I have to submit some poems for publication, and I have to produce the full complement of 18 pieces for our clothing website in 1 week, and I have to do my 3 YouTube videos a week, when all of that happens at once in a week, there's not enough time to do everything. And that is why I haven't been exercising for months. And I recently decided to prioritize exercise and get back on a pretty strict schedule of working out 5 days a week. I'm actually going to a gym to do it some of the time. They're showing me how to use weights and kind of stick to like a good resistance training schedule. So I'm going to the gym 2 or 3 days a week, and I'm working out at home 2 or 3 days a week. So I've added that in. It's like I've had more to do than I have time for months and months and months, and exercise has gotten cut out. And I got to the point where I was just feeling so unbelievably miserable in my body that I was like, I've got to prioritize exercise. So I put it first on the list, and everything else got shoved down one block. But at the same time, I got hit with a full roster of work in all of my different realms, and it's just been crazy. It's just been crazy. On top of which, when you start to exercise intensively after not having done it for a long time, you are exhausted. You are exhausted, and the way that I've been solving the problem, or the way that I've been trying to solve the problem of not having enough hours in the day, is to get up early, get up earlier. So I've been getting up at 6. I've been working out at 7, depending. I've been working out at 7 if I go to the gym, more like 6:30 if I'm here. And that's great because I haven't historically been getting up that early. And so if I get up that early and I get finished with my exercise pretty early, I still have enough time in the rest of the day to do a lot of things. But it's been hard because I've been shorting myself a little bit of sleep. And the theory is that if you start getting up super early, then after a couple of days, you're tired enough to go to sleep earlier or to fall asleep earlier, which is really my problem because I can get in bed, but my mind goes like, and it keeps me awake for a couple of hours. It's really hard for me to fall asleep. But theoretically, if I am getting up early, everything will shift and I will be able to fall asleep, especially getting up and working out. I'll be able to fall asleep earlier. I think that theory is sound, and eventually that will happen. As I continue to exercise, that will happen. It's just taking a couple of weeks for my body to adjust. So I've been struggling getting up early. I've been doing it, but it's been really hard. It's been sapping a lot of my willpower. And because I'm doing it, I'm managing, but then it's like harder and harder to do the other things that I need to do because I'm so exhausted, both from working out and from getting up early. I'm sorry I sound like I'm like a huge complainer right now. I just realized I'm here like, wah, 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 wah. And it's like I said, my life isn't in shambles. I'm really glad that I've been getting up and that I've been working out. And I love, again, the work, like things are good that are happening. It's been an extremely trying couple of weeks in terms of energy level, mental capacity, willpower. And that, I think, is what led to me kind of breaking down and like ordering these things from Octoly. And like I spent my whole budget and just, generally kind of leaking out the edges of my project, because it's the first thing we do when things get tough, I think, is to try to grasp those old surefire ways of like getting an immediate little dopamine burst. So it's just been very, very interesting. I'm gonna put on this lippy that I shopped in my stash for. It's ColourPop who run this. Obviously you can't talk while I'm putting it on. I'll speed through the footage. But I think all I was trying to say with that exercise thing is just that I'm going into the third week now, and I think that things will even out quite soon. Like my body will adjust, my schedule will adjust, my sleep will adjust, everything will adjust. It's just that it's just been a rough entry. Man, this lippy, I love the color so much. I love this rusty red, and I really love like a rusty red matte lip with a slightly cool toned figgy pinky eye. I really like this combination. I struggle with this. The formula is so thick and rich and slippery and pigmented, and that's not really the lip look that I love. I like a softer, blotted, more natural lip. So I feel like I'm wearing this lipstick not the way that it was intended. I softened the edges quite a bit with a Q-tip, and it will wear down into sort of like a blotted stain, and I really love that, but I can't let it go because of the color. What I'm saying is when I apply it first, a full opacity, I'm like, it's not quite the thing for me, so that I'm able to work with it to get the look that I love. Ideally, I would have this color in a different formula, something like the Bobbi Brown Crushed, a formula that I really love, but I'm able to work with this to get the look that I like. I just feel like I'm betraying it, it's betraying me, and we're just in this extremely tumultuous and complicated relationship. All right, that is it, you guys. I'm not sure if I even touched on everything on which I meant to touch in this little chit-chatty get ready with me. I hope I managed to actually pull off a chit-chat get ready with me, or like a chatty get ready with me, if that was what I was trying to do. And I think I've only ever done one of those on my channel. I would like to do more. I'd like to do more stuff of this nature. I just felt like I needed to check in, and I hope it didn't feel like I was just complaining the whole time. But I wanted to check in a little bit about how my feelings about PR, or my feelings about free stuff in general, are sort of starting to come to a head. I don't think that there are going to be any imminent changes or announcements about a policy change on my channel. I just am starting to get a little bit like I'm feeling like I'm thinking about it, like a little bit antsy about it, or a little bit like I'm starting to see something crystallize in the not too distant future. And I'm definitely going to make a video about it, and then I may actually make changes to my policies. We will see. But it's been an interesting month in any case to sort of watch myself react inside of the system that I'm in, meaning like I'm here, I'm on YouTube, I'm on a budget, I have access to Octoly, I sometimes receive gifts or PR in the mail. Like that whole system, this whole sort of system of relating to stuff and to the problems of too much stuff and to money and to the problems of overspending and to budgeting, like, I'm in kind of this interesting and slightly contradictory web of life. What am I talking about? An interesting and slightly contradictory specific set of circumstances. And this has been a particularly interesting month to watch myself react inside that set of circumstances, because it's been such a rough one. And my schedule has gone out the window, and my energy levels have been bonkers, and I've just been on the struggle bus in certain specific ways, and it has caused me to kind of react with relation to stuff. So I wanted to kind of check in about that. Again, I don't have any answers. I just have my observations and my questions for myself. And I'm asking those questions of myself really as we speak. So then I want to check in about my schedule and let you guys know that everything's going to be late, but it all is coming. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. I hope it wasn't too much of a mess. And I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.